The night air hung heavy over Rosewood Lane, the kind of suburban street where neighbors knew each other's dogs by name, and the most exciting thing to happen was the occasional misdelivered package. Officer Trent Mills sat in his patrol car, sipping lukewarm coffee and watching the quiet street through tired eyes. After 12 years on the force in Fairhaven, Connecticut, he had learned to appreciate the quiet nights. The radio crackled. All units in vicinity of East District, be advised of a suspicious sedan, dark blue Toyota Camry, license plate Alpha Delta Victor 549, last seen heading south on Primrose Avenue. Mills straightened in his seat. Primrose was just 2 blocks over. He started the engine but didn't turn on his lights. No need to wake the neighborhood for what was probably nothing. As he turned onto Primrose, he spotted the vehicle rolling slowly down the street, about 10 miles under the speed limit. The driver seemed to be looking at house numbers. At this hour, just past midnight, it was enough to warrant attention. Mills followed for a minute, then flipped on his lights. The sedan immediately pulled to the curb, a textbook traffic stop response. He called in the plate and approached the vehicle with caution, flashlight in hand. The driver's window rolled down, revealing a middle-aged man in a plain navy sweater. Nothing unusual except for his unnaturally calm demeanor and the way his eyes seemed to take in every detail of Mills's uniform. "License and registration, please," Mills said, shining his light briefly into the back seat. "Empty." "Officer, I understand the protocol, but I need to make a call first," the man said in a measured voice. "Sir, I need to see your license and registration before anything else happens," Mills replied firmly. The man nodded once. "I understand. But I think it would save us both considerable time if you allowed me to make one phone call." There was something in the man's tone, not threatening, but carrying an unmistakable weight of authority, that gave Mills pause. "Sir, are you refusing to provide identification?" "Not at all." The man reached slowly for his wallet and handed over a driver's license. James Harper. The address was in Virginia. "Mr. Harper, you're a long way from home." "Yes, I am." Harper's eyes never left Mills's face. "Officer, I need to make that call now. After that, I'll explain everything." Mills hesitated. Procedure said to run the license first, but something told him this wasn't an ordinary traffic stop. "Make it quick," he finally said. Harper nodded gratefully and pulled out a phone unlike any Mills had seen before. It wasn't the latest iPhone or Samsung, but something more utilitarian, with an unusual antenna. Harper dialed a number from memory and spoke just 5 words. "Lighthouse. Protocol 7. Rosewood Lane." He ended the call and handed the phone to Mills. "You'll want to hold on to this. Someone will call back within the next few minutes." Mills took the device warily. "Mr. Harper, what exactly is going on here?" "I can't explain fully until my authorization is confirmed. What I can tell you is that I'm not here by accident, and your patrol route tonight wasn't random either." A chill ran down Mills's spine. "Are you saying I was being watched?" "Not exactly. Let's just say certain algorithms predicted you'd be the officer responding tonight. We needed someone with your particular record." Before Mills could demand clarification, the phone in his hand vibrated. The screen displayed only "secure line." "You'll want to answer that," Harper said calmly. Mills pressed the answer button. "Officer Mills speaking." "Officer Mills, this is Commander Rebecca Chen, Pentagon Liaison Office. I need you to verify your badge number and department." Mills automatically recited his information, training taking over despite his confusion. "Thank you, Officer Mills. In approximately 8 minutes, a black SUV will arrive at your location. Until then, I need you to secure the area and remain with Mr. Harper. This is a matter of national security. Do you understand?" "Yes, ma'am," Mills replied, military instinct kicking in from his years before the police force. "But may I ask what this is regarding?" "You'll be briefed when necessary, officer. For now, know that you're doing your country a service." The line went dead. Mills looked at Harper with new eyes. "Who are you really?" Harper smiled slightly. "Just a guy who got pulled over for driving too slowly." 8 minutes later, precisely as predicted, A black Suburban with government plates rolled silently to a stop behind Mills's patrol car. Two men in suits emerged, scanning the street with practiced efficiency before approaching. "Officer Mills," the taller one said, not asking but confirming. "I'm Agent Rollins. This is Agent Chen. Thank you for your assistance tonight." He held up credentials that Mills only glimpsed briefly before they were tucked away. Harper got out of his car, nodding to the agents. "Perimeter secure?" "Yes, sir," Agent Chen replied. "The package?" "Trunk," Harper said simply. Mills watched in bewilderment as Chen opened the sedan's trunk and removed what appeared to be an ordinary leather briefcase. The agent checked it briefly before nodding to Rollins. "Officer Mills," Rollins said, "we need you to create a documentation gap. No record of this stop, no mention in your logs. Can you do that?" Mills frowned. "I've already called in the plate. We'll handle that. Your dispatcher will receive confirmation that it was a false alarm. Vehicle reported stolen, but confirmed legitimate." Mills felt increasingly uneasy. "I need to know what's going on. I can't just—" "Actually, you can," Harper interrupted gently. "And when you understand why, you'll be glad you did." The sound of another vehicle approaching made everyone tense. A second black SUV pulled up, this one with a small flag mounted on the hood. The rear door opened and a figure emerged. Mills blinked in disbelief as a man in full Navy dress uniform stepped into the circle of his flashlight beam. The gold braiding and shoulder boards were unmistakable, as was the stern face that Mills had seen on news broadcasts. "Admiral Peterson," Harper said with a respectful nod. Admiral William Peterson, Chief of Naval Operations and member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, should have been in Washington. Instead, he was standing on Rosewood Lane at nearly 1 a.m, looking at Officer Trent Mills with keen interest. "Officer Mills," the Admiral said, extending his hand, "your country owes you a debt of gratitude tonight." Mills shook the offered hand automatically, his mind racing. "Sir, I don't understand." "No, you don't," the Admiral agreed. "And that's exactly why you were chosen. Your record shows a man who follows procedure but can recognize when protocol might need flexibility. You've demonstrated that quality tonight." The Admiral turned to Harper. "Status?" "Transfer complete. The package is secure." Peterson nodded, satisfied. "Officer Mills, walk with me." It wasn't a request. Mills fell into step beside the Admiral as they moved a short distance from the others. "What I'm about to tell you cannot be repeated," Peterson began. "Not to your chief, not to your family, not to anyone. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir," Mills replied, military bearing returning instantly. 4 days ago, a quantum encryption key was stolen from a naval research facility in Virginia. This key could compromise every secure communication channel used by our submarines worldwide. We identified the culprit, a civilian contractor who believed he was selling to Chinese intelligence. Mills struggled to process this information. "And he was in Fairhaven?" "No. He was intercepted in Boston yesterday, but the key wasn't on him. We tracked his movements and discovered he'd made a dead drop somewhere in this area. We couldn't risk a visible operation that might spook his contact, so we set up surveillance and waited." The Admiral glanced back at Harper. Commander Harper's job was to retrieve the key before the actual foreign agent could collect it. Your unexpectedly stopping him tonight complicated matters, but also provided perfect cover for the extraction. "So there never was any foreign agent coming to pick it up?" Mills asked. The Admiral's expression darkened. "Oh, there most certainly is. And they're likely watching right now, which is why this traffic stop charade is so important. To them, it appears we stumbled onto their operation by accident, giving them a chance to retreat without revealing their identity." Mills looked around nervously. "They're watching us now?" "Possibly. More likely they're monitoring police bands and street cameras. The point is, your legitimate traffic stop gave us the perfect cover to extract the key while making it appear to be nothing more than routine police work." Mills's mind was racing. But why tell me any of this? Wouldn't it be better if I didn't know? Admiral Peterson smiled slightly. "Because tomorrow, when no report of this incident exists, when your dashcam footage mysteriously fails, someone might come asking questions. And you needed to know enough to stay silent without knowing so much that you become a target." The Admiral reached into his pocket and produced a business card with only a phone number. If anyone at all, asks about tonight, you call this number immediately. Don't try to handle it yourself. Mills took the card, feeling its weight far beyond the paper it was printed on. Yes, sir. Good man. Now return to your patrol. Different route tonight. And Officer Mills, thank you for your service. The Admiral turned and walked back to his vehicle without waiting for a response. Harper and the agents were already loading into their vehicles. Within 30 seconds, all that remained on Rosewood Lane was Mills and his patrol car. He stood there for several minutes, the Admiral's card heavy in his pocket, before finally returning to his vehicle. He sat behind the wheel, hands trembling slightly, as he realized the magnitude of what had just happened. His radio crackled. Unit 17, what's your status on that suspicious vehicle? Mills picked up the handset, hesitated just a fraction of a second, then pressed the talk button. Dispatch, Unit 17. False alarm. Vehicle checks out. Returning to patrol. Copy that, Unit 17. Mills started his car and pulled away from the curb, deliberately avoiding looking in his rearview mirror. The night suddenly felt much darker, the quiet streets of Fairhaven no longer quite so innocent. 2 days later, Mills was working an afternoon shift when he spotted a newspaper headline. Naval exercise off East Coast demonstrates new communication systems. There was a photo of Admiral Peterson speaking at a podium. Their eyes had never met, Mills realized. And yet, for a brief moment on a quiet suburban street, their lives had intersected in ways that would never be recorded in any official document. His hand unconsciously touched the business card in his wallet. He hoped he would never need to use it. But 3 weeks later, the call came. Mills was at home enjoying his day off when his doorbell rang. 2 men in suits stood on his porch, badges already out. Officer Trent Mills, FBI? We'd like to ask you a few questions about a traffic stop you conducted on Rosewood Lane last month. Mills felt his mouth go dry. Can I see those badges again? The men exchanged glances before holding their credentials up once more. Mills examined them carefully, noting they appeared genuine. Come in, he said, leading them to his living room. What exactly do you want to know? According to dispatch records, you reported stopping a suspicious vehicle that night, but there's no follow-up paperwork. Your dashcam footage from that period is also missing. Mills shrugged. Equipment malfunction. Happens sometimes. That's quite a coincidence, the taller agent said, especially since a resident on Rosewood reported seeing multiple black SUVs on their street that same night. I wouldn't know anything about that, Mills replied evenly. The agents continued their questioning for nearly 20 minutes. As soon as they left, Mills went to his bedroom, closed the door, and called the number on the Admiral's card. It rang only once before being answered. Authentication code, a woman's voice demanded. Mills hesitated. No one had given him a code. I don't have one. Officer Mills, Fairhaven PD. Admiral Peterson gave me this number. A pause. 1 moment. Less than a minute later, a familiar voice came on the line. Officer Mills, I was wondering when we'd hear from you. Commander Harper, Mills guessed. Good memory. Tell me what happened. Mills recounted the visit in detail. When he finished, Harper was silent for several seconds. You did exactly right, he finally said. Those men weren't FBI. Mills felt a chill. Who were they? That's what we're going to find out. Pack a bag. Someone will be at your house in 30 minutes to bring you in. Bring me in where? I have a shift tomorrow. Your chief will receive notification that you've been called as a witness in a federal case. It's been handled. 30 minutes, Officer Mills. The line went dead. Exactly 30 minutes later, a nondescript sedan pulled up outside Mills' house. The driver was Agent Chen from the night on Rosewood Lane. Where are we going? Mills asked as they drove. Naval Station Newport, Chen replied. Admiral Peterson wants to speak with you personally. The naval base was just over an hour's drive. Mills was escorted to a secure building and through multiple checkpoints before finally being shown into a conference room. Commander Harper was waiting, along with a woman Mills didn't recognize. Officer Mills, this is Captain Elaine Reed, Naval Intelligence, Harper said. Thank you for contacting us promptly. Reed studied Mills intently. The men who visited you were not federal agents. They were working for the same people who tried to obtain the encryption key. How do you know? Because the real FBI doesn't know anything about what happened that night, Harper explained. And we've been monitoring all official inquiries. Reed opened a laptop. We need you to look at some photos, see if you can identify the men who came to your house. Mills spent the next hour reviewing photographs and providing detailed descriptions. When they finished, Reed exchanged a significant look with Harper. What? Mills asked. Do you know who they are? We have our suspicions, Reed said carefully. The important thing is that they approached you directly, which means they've identified you as the officer from that night. Am I in danger? Mills asked bluntly. Harper sighed. We don't believe so, but we can't rule it out, which is why Admiral Peterson has arranged something. Before Mills could ask what that something was, the door opened and the Admiral himself walked in. Everyone stood immediately. Officer Mills, Peterson said warmly, it seems our paths cross again. Yes, sir, Mills replied, still standing at attention. At ease, the Admiral said with a slight smile. You're not in the Navy. Not anymore, sir, Mills corrected. 8 years, CBs. I know, it's in your file. That military background is partly why you were the ideal person to encounter Commander Harper that night. Peterson sat down and gestured for Mills to do the same. But now we have a problem. You've been identified by people who would very much like to know what happened that night. Mills nodded grimly. So what happens now? Now, Peterson said, sliding a folder across the table, you have a choice to make. Inside the folder was an official-looking document with the Department of the Navy letterhead. Mills scanned it quickly, then looked up in surprise. This is a job offer. Naval Criminal Investigative Service, Peterson confirmed. Special agent position based on your military and law enforcement background. It comes with relocation, of course, far from Connecticut. Mills stared at the document, mind reeling. You want me to join NCIS because some fake FBI agents came to my door? No, Reed interjected. We want you to join NCIS because you've already demonstrated the exact qualities we look for. Discretion, courage, and the ability to make wise decisions under pressure. The security concern simply accelerated the timeline. This has been in the works since that night on Rosewood Lane, Harper added. We vet our people carefully, Officer Mills. You passed with flying colors. Mills looked around the table. And if I say no, then we arrange protection until we identify and neutralize the threat. Peterson said matter-of-factly. You'd likely need to relocate temporarily regardless. But I hope you'll consider the offer. We need good people. Mills looked down at the document again. It was a complete career change, uprooting his life in Fairhaven. And yet, something about it felt right. How long do I have to decide? Officially, 2 weeks, Reed said. Practically, we need an answer before you leave this base today. Those men coming to your home escalated the situation. Mills thought about his apartment in Fairhaven, his routine at the department, the quiet streets he patrolled. He thought about the night on Rosewood Lane and how it had awakened something in him, a sense that he could be part of something bigger. I don't need 2 weeks, he said finally. Where do I sign? 6 months later, Special Agent Trent Mills sat in an NCIS surveillance van outside a marina in San Diego. Next to him, his partner monitored communications equipment. Target is approaching the boat now, she reported. Right on schedule. Mills adjusted his tactical vest. All units in position? Affirmative, just waiting for your go. Mills touched the small scar on his forearm, a souvenir from his training at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. So much had changed since that night in Connecticut. He had a new home, new colleagues, a new mission. His radio crackled. Mills, this is Control. We have confirmation the package is aboard. Operation is a go. Mills took a deep breath. All units, move in now. As he stepped out of the van into the California sunshine, he briefly thought about Rosewood Lane and how a routine traffic stop had changed everything. Sometimes, the most important moments in life arrive disguised as ordinary days. And sometimes, when police stop a sedan on a quiet street, the ripples can change the course of many lives, including your own.